Hello, friend. Welcome back to my bar. It's fancy meeting you here. Once again, I'm gonna make you a classic cocktail today called The Last Word. It was initially invented at the Detroit Athletic Club circa 1915, if you can believe it. It was one of the last great classics to come into circulation pre-Prohibition. It was very popular at the time, and then of course Prohibition happened. The dry period really kind of killed everyone's vibe. But it was really well liked because it's a heady balance of herbal, sweet, and sour notes, making it one of the best examples of a balanced cocktail out there. It is an equal parts concoction using green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, gin, and lime juice. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic little cocktail, but it did have some staying power because after Prohibition, it was written up as a recipe in Ted Saucier's 1951 publication, and then it was completely lost to time. And so if it were not for the cocktail revival of the early aughts and an intrepid Seattle-based bartender rediscovering it in Saucier's 1951 book, we probably wouldn't have this cocktail here today. But because of the cocktail revival of the early aughts, it became enormously popular. It swept the nation, and it yielded many fantastic. That was a very anemic lime, incredibly disappointing. Absolutely no juice in there. We will continue. We'll forge ahead, nevertheless. I wanted to regale you with a story of a recent team retreat I went on when I'm not here, you know, entertaining you. I do have another job in market research. I work in sales. I think I mentioned that last time I was here, and the story about the ripped pants in season 1, you might recall. A very memorable moment in my life. Anyway, a team retreat is essentially a 2-day escape where you're forced to have fun with people you don't really like. But a few years ago, we went on a team retreat. We stayed in rural Quebec in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Our CEO couldn't make it due to a family emergency, but there was a taxidermied bear in the cottage we stayed at. So we named the bear after our CEO, and we brought him down to the table so he could participate, you know, in the round table sessions and you know, fully experience the delights of our feedback throughout the process, until one day the people that own the cottage came to check on it, and we had obviously moved the taxidermied bear from where it lived to a completely different location, and then myself and 2 of my other coworkers had to rush to bring the taxidermied bear back to its original resting place, and narrowly took its head off on the staircase. I think I'm missing something. I think I need a little maraschino cherry, a little brandied cherry to just toss right in this drink. Nathan, can you help me out here? Can you pop my cherry? Can you make it in this little tiny hole right here? Oh, brick. Wow. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, it's a little bit of performance anxiety. It's about as satisfying as my first time, that's for sure. But nevertheless, I will have to do it myself as usual. And there we have the last word. Cheers. It's an absolutely phenomenal cocktail that you simply must try. I'm gonna make Sam Ross's modern interpretation, a modern classic that uses the same profile of sweet, sour, and herbal, and is also an equal parts cocktail called the Paper Plane. Sam Ross is now a New York City-based bartender that created this in 2008 when he was working at the Violet Room in Chicago. So instead of the ingredients we used in the first one, we're actually using bourbon, 2 different types of Amari, again, Amari being herbal Italian liqueurs, digestif. We are having Amaro Nonino and the sweeter Aperol, and we're gonna use lemon as our citrus. But more recently, my team and I were going to Montreal for a team retreat. And this is the jigger I want. It's right in front of me. You ever do that? You like look for your keys and you're holding them? I do that all the time. I don't know what's going on, but the brain is not braining sometimes. Anyway, we're on our way to Montreal. For some reason, my boss decides that we won't take our own vehicles, but instead we'll rent them for the short 2-hour drive involved in getting from Ottawa to Montreal. So we set off, you know, 3 of us in one vehicle and 4 of us in another. We're driving on the road. My boss and I and another colleague are in one car, and our compatriots are ahead of us on the highway. And then we notice exactly at the midpoint between Ottawa and Montreal, that their tire is flaccid. It is just flapping in the wind on the highway, smacking the pavement uselessly. So we call them panicked. Like, well, how bad would it be if half the team got in a car accident? Not an ideal outcome. Quite the hefty WSIB claim would follow if that were the case. So we called them, we're like, pull over, your tire's spent. So I would like to point out that on my team, we're very overeducated. There's 3 doctorates and about 17 people with master's degrees. How many of them know how to change a tire? Zip, zilch, 0. So we in a panic, call the car rental company. And we're like, we have a flat tire, send a technician. So they send a mechanic. I need a glass. Where's props? Thank you, young lady. Merci. We're fine training not to get the ice chippies into our finished cocktail. No garnish here, so Nathan will not have to embarrass himself once again with his terrible shot from the free throw line. So we wait. The technician comes, the mechanic comes. He's like, yeah, you're f***ed, basically. That's not the only flat tire. The other 3 tires are all misaligned. You need to get this fixed right away. Like, I don't know anything about cars. I was not gonna volunteer to change the tire. So then we spend the full half day of our first day of our team retreat eating fried chicken at Saint-Hubert in the middle of Quebec. Let this be a lesson to you to maybe trust your own vehicles and hire someone that knows anything about cars before you go on a team retreat. Cheers. Let's see it. Can he do it? Can he do it? Can he redeem himself? Redemption. Wow, no. You're getting worse. It's all in the wrist. Better. What if I just sink it? What if I just sink it just from right here? Oh!